What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Red Stock. Apologies that I am late. I've literally just rushed back from work. I was finishing up at Fires Trafford doing the football leagues there and hosting and commentating, etc., etc. So I've literally finished at probably about 5 to 9 and rushed home as quickly as possible to find out all the news, and obviously got to put graphics together and then go live on top of that as well. So yeah, I tried my best to be back in time for when the team lineups came out. But regardless, wherever you're at, obviously some people probably already watching other stuff. That's absolutely fine. I'm going to go live regardless. And apparently this is the team news, so I'm really, really excited to get into that because not what I thought it would be. I thought the back line, to be fair, pretty much called when me and Alex did the preview yesterday. But a couple of interesting kind of tweaks in there. We're going to see a partnership with Ugarte and Manu again, and then the front three, at least in my opinion, is the most interesting thing and how that dynamic's going to work and what it means for other players at the club as well. Good evening to Sid, who's in the chat. Good evening, everyone who's joining us as well. Let's, as always, ladies and gentlemen, we always go from goalkeeper through to the attacker. So let's just do that. Bayern Day starting in there. I think everyone knows my feelings on Bayern Day is pretty clear. I think everyone agrees on that kind of situation. Like, he's not number one material. I don't think he ever will be. As a number two, even still, then there's question marks on him. I just doesn't bring me with confidence. I don't necessarily think he's any good on the ball. He worries me. He panics sometimes. He stutters on the ball. Many situations which I don't need to go through, but last season where he just does not fill me with confidence at all. One little bit. But he's in net, and it's going to be either between Bayern Day or Onana, innit? And Onana, as we already all know as well, probably going to be available back for the first game against Arsenal, I'd imagine. I know he's been back in training, so are you going to throw him in cold? Will he play against Fiorentina, perhaps, potentially? Either way, don't like the goalkeeper situation. Maybe something absolutely sporadic happens towards the end of the window and we go get a Donnarumma or we go get a Martinez. His fingers crossed, because I would absolutely bite your hand off for one of those goalkeepers right now, especially Donnarumma. If that's a deal that there's even an ounce of a potential to do, please do go and do that deal for the love of God. I would absolutely love that goalkeeper. But for now, it's Heaton, Bayern Day, or Onana. It's like going to a shop and you go in there, you want a Kinder Bueno, you want a Dairy Milk, you want a Galaxy, and you get there and it's just kind of Turkish delights, double deckers, and you got to deal with what you got, right? So, not happy with the goalkeeper situation, but let's just hope he has a good game. However, the back three, I will say, kind of predicted this, and the reason why is because I think Lenny Yoro on that right-hand side in that channel, that is his position to lose now for the rest of the season. He has come in. He had a difficult period kind of early on when was it Slimani at Southampton, I think? They played against, he got rinsed a little bit, and that was kind of a learning curve for him. And ever since then, he's kind of like, I've took it personal. Who was it who said that now? Was it Michael Jordan? Yeah, it was Michael Jordan won it in the last dance where he goes, I took that shit personal. Ever since that game, he's just come back and he's been absolutely sweet. And he's been, unbelievable. So that is his position pretty much nailed down, I would say. Obviously, you can chop and change. You could put other players in there, whether that be Nasser Mazraoui, whether that be even Dallo sometimes the right side centre half, De Ligt shifting out there. But ideally, you want Lenny Yoro just because of how good he is on the ball, his pace, his 1v1 ability, top centre-back. And I can't wait to see him grow into that role. So Lenny Yoro is a starter for sure. The central centre-back one is interesting for me because, right, so I think Harry Maguire has certain qualities which help in this system. I think Maguire on the ball, those switches of play to break up how isolated, not how isolated it is, how compact it is in the middle. That's a nice asset to have from the central centre-back. But also I think De Ligt's a little bit cuter as a defender. I don't know. I don't think there's that much difference in between them. So if either one starts, I'm not overly fussed. But there's more longevity in playing someone like Matthias De Ligt. You know what I mean? Like Harry Maguire's 31, is he now or something? Got 1 year left on his contract. Probably going to go somewhere else. So De Ligt is the future. So you want him to progress in that role and get better and better and better. And I think he's been doing pretty good. I think he's been decent. I think his performances, although you're not going off a lot, I think De Ligt's probably been performing better, maybe. But again, with Maguire, you get that big towering figure as well, who's can be a bit of a threat in the box, as we all remember from the Lyon game. So, yeah, again, it's a conversation, innit? You guys let me know who you prefer, whether it is Matthias De Ligt or, I was going to say Harry Onana then. Harry Maguire. Luke Shaw is the question mark, innit? I think, for everyone. Luke Shaw, for me, If he can stay fit, I would absolutely keep him there. You can go back to a show we did probably about a year and a half ago, where I said if we are gonna, not a year and a half ago, it would have been when Amarin just come in, sorry, around November time, and I was saying if Shaw could stay fit in that left-sided centre half, he's perfect for it because he's stronger than Lissandro, he's quicker than Lissandro. I won't say he's as good as Lissandro, but he's pretty competent on the ball, he's decent. And with him, because he's played left-back as well, if you need those late overlapping runs, you need him to tuck inside, like he's pretty comfortable all across that left channel. And he's looking fitter as well, so it's kind of, you don't want to say too much because it's like, you know, at any minute it could just bang, he's out for 8 weeks. And then we're like, all right, well, we'll put Lissandro back in there. But you've also got Aiden Heaven. So the depth that we have at centre-back is really, really good. Different kind of options as well. Aiden Heaven is a very different player to what Lissandro Martinez is. I think they're all different in their own right. So who would you prefer at the left side centre-half? For me, Luke Shaw, if he stays fit at the minute. But I do like the prospect of Aiden Heaven. And I also think, despite all the criticism and shit that people give to Luke Shaw, excuse me, I think there's a lot that Aiden Heaven can learn from for someone who's been at Manchester United for nearly a decade, has experienced European finals and won trophies with the club. It's not the worst thing in the world, is it? So, yeah. I thought it was interesting that the leadership group thing that Ruben Amorim's going through. He's done a big interview today and he was talking about kind of the players he's put in charge, let's just say, who are kind of the leaders. Is like Managerial was one of them. I think Lissandro Martinez, Bruno Fernandes, and there was a couple, maybe Harry Maguire was in there as well as a few others, but I didn't see Casemiro in there. So, I don't know, man. It's interesting, isn't it? Could be close to versus Arsenal lineup. That's what Tim99 says. Yeah, for sure. Josh is saying it could be a Leacher, Shaw, Martinez. What? It could be a Leacher, Shaw, and Martinez left centre-back rotation. We've definitely got good centre-back depth. That's definitely not the position we should look to improve first. I agree. We're all right at the base in that regard. Goalkeeper still a question mark. We've got Amad Diallo starting at right wing back today, which is, I think that's a nailed-on position where he'll probably play for the majority of it. Do you lot think Amad's better as a 10, or do you think he's better as a wing back, and why? I prefer him as a wing back because I feel like he is having someone like him when you're on the attack as kind of the spare man who can arrive late into the box and finish those kind of chances. Or him and Mbeumo kind of dovetailing as well. And Mbeumo could drop into the right wing back. Amad can push forward and drift inside. That fluid rotation and combination is going to be interesting. Similar how you see on the opposite side with Patrick Dorgu and Mateus Cunha, the way they kind of rotate. I think that partnership's going to be very, very key. I'm definitely going to speak about Mbeumo in a minute, by the way. I'm not purposely missing it out or anything like that. I'm saving it for a good section. So yeah, Amad Diallo, going to do what he does. Obviously a huge fan of him. Can't wait to see him perform again. Got a goal in the last game, and he's just going to keep on improving. Very excited talent. In the middle of the park, which is, if we're all being honest, is the biggest conversation at the minute going into this season. Who is going to be that midfield partnership? And who do we prefer, more to the point? Because I think whatever player partnership combination that you go with, there are flaws in it. However, one thing I will say is when the last time that we watched Ugarte and Mainu, which I believe was West Ham, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. That looked like the best balance for me. They seem to just be getting it right in really detailed, important areas, whether they're covering the wide channels at the right times, receiving it under pressure, combining well, Cobby carrying it through the midfield and linking play. Little bits like that. Ugarte knowing when to drop as well. I quite like that partnership. So that is something that I will definitely have an eye on and be making notes on during the game to see how, if this, in fact, is a partnership that's going to blossom. The thing is, always been with Mainu is the off-the-ball stuff. Has he got enough on that side? Because on the ball, we all know he's incredible. Like, the way he carries it and the way he kind of strings it about and combines with players. Like, he's definitely a player, and there is a player there. But it's just seeing it come to fruition and that kind of partnership develop. So, interesting to see that. Diego Dalot at left wing-back doesn't fill me with the biggest confidence, but with it being pre-season, I'm not overly fussed about it. But I don't know, whatever reason he's gone for that. Maybe Patrick Dorgu needs a little bit of a rest. Maybe he doesn't, I don't know what kids can play there or what have you, but maybe he just wants to give Dalot minutes. I have absolutely no idea. But if it is, in fact, I don't know if Bruno's going to be on that left-hand side. We don't know how that front three is going to work. But yeah, you could have that kind of Portuguese partnership there. I'm not entirely sure. Because we have a front three of Mbeumo, Bruno Fernandes and Cunha. Now, again, like I said, this could be extremely fluid. Sometimes you can see Bruno dropping into a bit of a false 9, potentially if Cunha's drifting out wide and then Mbeumo's drifting. And Mbeumo can drift there and play as a 9. Cunha could play there as a 9. So I wouldn't really necessarily say it's nailed on that anyone's going to have a permanent position there. Do you know what I mean? I'm just looking about now. People have Cunha as a 9 in a lot of their graphics. It doesn't really matter, does it? I think that's a very, very exciting front three for me. I love that. That is such a night and day to last season when we had Rasmus, Garnacho, and whoever was fit enough to play on the right-hand side. Call it who you want, Rashford, yeah, whoever it is. It's just a world apart. And that front three is dangerous. It is so dangerous. Everything you get in Bruno Fernandes, the intensity, the way he shifts the ball, the creativity as well. And Mbeumo, of course, it's his debut, so I don't think people are going to expect the absolute world from him, but we have just spent 70 million quid on you, mate, and you just got 27 goal involvements in the Premier League, so there is going to be a level of expectation. He's obviously going to be super excited. I want to see how he links up with players around him. You kind of get the feel straight away, don't you? I felt like with Cunha, as soon as I saw him playing this team, I was like, yeah, you see straight away why United have gone and signed him, because he just fits the system perfectly. Played it at Wolves. There's a connection there. There's the Portuguese connection. Obviously, fluently speaks Portuguese, I mean. So it just kind of fit in seamlessly. And it seems like the type of character that Bryan Mbeumo is, you'll get the similar situation there. And him and Ahmad, I keep saying this, I think Mikalenko starting at left back for Everton tonight. Good fucking luck. That's what I'll say. Because dealing with those two is going to be absolute nightmare. Yeah, them two are going to cook this season. So really, really excited, man. I'm happy with that team. Sure, there's probably a couple of nitpicking things that can go through that I would have rather had seen, but you know, sometimes with preseason recovery is important, and you know, playing certain players and positions to see what you're getting. That's quite a strong team, though. I think you have to go and get the job done over Everton with that side. No excuses at all. And the way we've been playing, I look at the West Ham game, I look at the Bournemouth game, and what I have loved, and I'll get into all your comments in a minute, what I've loved is how intense we've been on the pitch. The off the ball, the work, the pressing as a collective, the when we're actually on it, how quickly we're shifting it, the patterns of play, like you're seeing it, things emerging now with whether it's through like Shaw, Cunha, Dorgu, or whether it's Yoro, Ahmad, and Mbeumo in this instance, in this case. So excited to see how we get on. I think we've officially actually won the Summer Series Cup, whatever that means. I don't know. I'm sure you probably get a bit of extra cash, which you know can't be a bad thing for us. And I think Everton are bottom with like 1 point. So they've not had the best preseason. I spoke to Alex about them yesterday. There's kind of like mixed feelings with Everton at the minute in terms of what they're doing in the market and what David Moyes can actually do this season. How far can he take Everton? Because obviously when he first initially came in, it was a really good manager bounce. Now you've got a full season to get into it and, you know, continue. So, yeah, there's 27 years in the live chat in a minute. Appreciate everyone joining. I know I went live late. It was 10 minutes late. Look, I explained at the start of the video. I had to rush home from work. I literally finished work at 5 to 9. Got back as quick as I could, done the graphics, and got myself live because I did not want to miss it. Sid saying I would have liked to see Rasmus up front, maybe just to give him that chance. But I think it's writing on the wall. I think so. I think they would want to sell him right now, 100%. Josh is saying Everton starting 11, Pickford, O'Brien, Tarkowski, Keane, Mikalenko. That is a slow back four. If Cunha, Bruno, and Mbeumo, and that's a mouthful, isn't it? Cunha, Bruno, and Mbeumo. There's something we could do there with that name. Mbeumo. Mateus and Bruno. Yeah, there you go. That's the front three that we've got. If they're not causing that backline problems, yeah, I'd be worried. Life of Jody saying, James confirmed Mainu will be back up 8 this season to Bruno before taking over that role if Bruno goes to Saudi next summer. But I'm sure I'd put certain points as well. Mainu will probably play in one of the 10 positions in a cup game and things. So I think he'll probably get enough minutes. And also, he doesn't need to play every game, does he? Let's be honest. Like, he's 20 years old. He'll grow into that role. You know what I mean? Chivy saying that's a strong starting 11. Midfield to watch. Absolutely. I was surprised by De Ligt missing also. Captain at 18, but not even the top 6 of United's leadership. I think this could be another high-scoring game. 3+ goals. Absolutely agree with you, Sid. Joshua Owen saying Everton's bench is McNeil, Barrett, Travers, Yeah, there's a couple of players in there that Alex told me to walk out for. There's a young kid who he told me, Harrison Armstrong, I think he said, to look out for. He's decent. Barry, obviously the new striker, who's like the most English name ever, but I think it's a kid who's come from Villarreal. He looks half decent. So, yeah, Everton aren't no scrubs. They're not just going to, lay over and thingy. But I think they might get a bit of a reality check. I think they would have watched Man United in action this season and they would have been like, yeah, boys, we've got a game on our hands here, haven't we? So, yeah, really, really looking forward to this one. And the fact it's on earlier as well. Like 10 o'clock kickoff. It's not ideal, sure. You would probably want 6, 7 o'clock, something like that. But 10 o'clock, chill at night. And then I've got SummerSlam night 2 that I can watch as well. So it has been a hectic weekend. Believe me when I say that. From start to finish, it has been mad busy. But we wouldn't have it any other way now, would we? We really, really wouldn't. Couple of quotes coming out from Ruben Amorim, which I want to get into. He says, we can have that feeling of we are improving, but we know the Premier League is a different world. We can do all the good things in pre-season, but then against Arsenal, if you don't start well, everything returns a little bit to the past. I don't like that. I know he's being honest, and I know he's probably right. There's still going to be some teething issues and stuff when we start. But then it just, I don't know. I want a little bit more confidence from manager in that. He says, we need to understand that in our club, for me, a normal game against Bournemouth, it seems like everybody's getting really excited. I give an interview, I say some things, sometimes I'm joking around. 20 years at United, I have to say 40 for people to understand that I want to be here for a while, but I know that results will dictate the future. I think the most important thing is to see that the team is playing better, that our focus. Mixed emotions there from Amorim in his pre-match interview. Yeah, I don't want to... Because that, to me, then puts doubt in my mind a little bit by the time we start the season. Maybe he's worried that fans are getting a little bit overzealous. Is that the correct word to use? That the expectation's going to be high because we beat Bournemouth and West Ham. And, well, technically we've been unbeaten, haven't we, in pre-season. And if anything's to go off, past years, 10, 15 years, or if you're older, you probably remember more, pre-season isn't everything. You could have an incredible pre-season. I'm pretty sure we did under Louis van Gaal and we didn't start the season great. I think we lost to Swansea and that. So it's I think the performance, just if you're just in isolation, the way we've been playing is 100% better. Everything looks better. Everything looks more increased. The players look leaner. They're moving quicker. They're moving the ball better. The structure seems a lot better. They're fighting a lot more on the pitch. Things like that you can look at and that, you know what I mean? Like, you can see there is an improvement there. It's just whether it carries over to the Prem or not now. That's the big question. I'm really interested to see, because that balloon of excitement can get popped real quick. And we know that from last season. Remember all that during the pre-season? We signed Lenny Yoro, Joshua Zirkzee, we've got Dan Ashworth in, new structure. Everything's rosy and positive and great. And then we start the season like a truck crashing, basically. So, yeah, we need to be careful with expectations and stuff. But I must admit, I'm more optimistic now, especially if we get a striker in as well. I mean, we're kind of half waiting for the Sesko news at some point to drop. Apparently, a deadline's been given. Sesko's not sure if United actually have the funds to get this deal together, to get this deal done, So, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. We can only kind of hope and wait and see what if Man United actually do place a bid, because we know Newcastle put a bid in. We're waiting on United now, so fingers crossed we can get that done early, and then who knows, might be able to get him in for a Fiorentina game. He might be on the bench for the Arsenal game, which would be very interesting, wouldn't it? If you got Sesko in now, you think about that Arsenal game, Arsenal starting with Gyökeres up top and United having Sesko in the side as well, who at the start of the season you probably would have said Gyökeres to United, and not start of the season, start the window, my apologies, is what I was supposed to say. So that in itself is like a derby, you know what I mean? James in the chat saying, what's up, Mr. McCabe? You know what? I think that's the first time anyone's ever called me Mr. McCabe. It feels weird saying it. It must feel like a school teacher when someone says that. But yeah, I'm good, man. I've rushed home from work, jumped on, happy to see the lineup. I want to see us cook tonight. I want to see... We've all enjoyed the performances of Bournemouth game and the West Ham game. I want to see that next level now. I want to see another improvement. Just go out there and destroy them. You know what I mean? Set a benchmark for teams in the Prem, saying, listen, this is not the same team as last season. You know, we're changed outfit now, and we're going to be a problem for any side, especially with having the amount of time that we've got now in between games as well. You know, we've got time to prepare. time on the training ground is so, like, coaches, as much as you'll say, Champions League footballs, we need it. Financially, it's much more beneficial. You're playing at a higher level. Like, I get all that kind of stuff. But you also saw the effect of, like, Nottingham Forest, for example, and Newcastle as well. Is that right, saying that? Who didn't have European football? Or which wasn't in that kind of realm, like Europa League or what have you? Am I wrong? Did Newcastle get knocked out of the Champions League? Just Nottingham Forest, used as an example, as kind of a benchmark. They made the most of it. It was going against teams ready, fit, firing, ready to go electric whenever they played them. And that's why they climbed up the table so much. I'm not saying we're going to have a similar season to Nottingham Forest, but I think you're definitely going to climb into the top 10 with the players that you sign and the way we're playing. You have to. You can't finish below 10th, in the season. I think it's a lose-lose regardless of what happens against Arsenal in the media. If we lose, it really counts for nothing. But if we win, we'll be hyped up and dragged down. Maybe they need to draw then, Sid. Maybe they need to draw then. The energy of our press has improved. That's from the life of Jude. And Joshua Owen saying Newcastle weren't in Europe last season. Yeah, so there you go. Like especially teams like Newcastle, you look at the energy that they exert when they play and how intense they are as a team. I think they may struggle a little bit this season for multiple reasons. For the transfer market, and this may come back to bite me back in the arse, but the transfer market has been woeful for them. They have not recruited the players that they want. They might end up losing the best number 9 in the league. They've had a load of kind of change at the top. I think Paul Mitchell left, and I think the sporting director at the minute is like a temporary one who's like Eddie Howe's brother or so. I don't know. I remember reading something about that, and they're not getting players in. So, and they've got a really good team. Someone mentioned this the other day, but they haven't got a deep squad to deal with that. So I think a few teams this season I would keep an eye on who are going to drop. Maybe an Aston Villa, maybe a Newcastle. Brentford for sure, with losing the players that they've lost. Perhaps Crystal Palace, depending on who ends up going from there. Saleze and a few others. To keep an eye on. Pat saying it's nice to watch a game with a bit of confidence. Yeah, it is, Pat. You're absolutely spot on, mate. It really, really is. But like I said, that balloon can pop real quick. So I'm riding this optimism for as long as I can. Question for you. Without an FA Cup or whatever, what place in the league is regarded as progress that we as fans are happy with? I think, honestly, top 8. And that might sound, maybe the benchmark's a little bit low. But I think we've only, in reality, the progression that we're seeing is we've brought in, so far, 2 players who are really good players who will definitely have a knock-on effect in terms of the goal involvements and how we operate as a team. And then, obviously, a lot of the players, there's been players that have moved on, players that aren't affecting the camp anymore, like Sancho's and Garnacho's and Rashford's and these kind of guys. And also the players look a lot fit, a lot more close-knit. So there's a few things there that add up together. You think, okay, well, we're going to climb the table because of that. I don't think that takes us into a top 6, to be honest, a top 6 finish. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we do. But I think top 8 is probably realistic, no? I would say. Anywhere between there. Yeah, I think Tim's spot on there. 6th to 8th is realistic. Anything above that is a bonus. Anything below that is unacceptable, in my opinion. And you need to have a conversation with Ruben Amorim, but he'll know that himself as well. That's why he's trying to set expectations, because he knows as soon as the season starts, you're playing someone like Arsenal, who you look at their teammate, like they have got, although they've not looked, I watched the game against Tottenham in pre-season, and again, it's pre-season, you can't read too much into it, but they look like they was having similar issues, having all the possession, but struggling to create clear-cut chances to finish them. And it was a similar thing when we played them last season as well. You remember that game at Old Trafford? I thought we were probably the better team, even though we had a shocking season. So that game against Arsenal is going to be really, really interesting. I can see that being a draw, to be honest with you. And both teams kind of coming away from that game with like, interesting. Okay, this is what we got wrong. This is what we can improve on. Looks like Dallo on the left and Ahmad on the right. Cunha's been the most central of the front 3 in attack. So Cunha is a 9, potentially. I'm excited, man. You know what? I love football. There is no other sport like it that I can watch and I can just be like fully engaged. Like, don't get me wrong, I watch other sports. Sometimes I watch UFC. I love WWE which is like I've kind of reignited my love for that. I was mentioning SummerSlam, watched SummerSlam last night, SummerSlam tonight as well. Like, it's entertaining, it gets me involved. The football is absolutely number one. Premier League football, I don't think there is a better thing on the planet than it. Genuinely, really, really don't. People could talk about fucking NBA and F1, and it's not close. It's really, really not close. It's why it's so lucrative. It's why it's so popular. I feel very, very blessed to grow up in Manchester, around the rich history of everything to do with. I know this sounds like a bit of a tangent I'm going off on, but I realise how lucky we are to have the kind of football that we do. Because some countries you grow up in, they don't even have like a league. They don't even have like a national league that you watch. We have got the best league in the world, by far. By far. Now, I know PSG won the Champions League, and people can say, oh, actually, well, these won this. But let's be honest, in terms of actual spectacle and the players that we have and the intensity and everything is just magic, innit? It's magical. And you know what? We kick off in under 2 weeks, officially again, for a full season. And this channel is going to be all over it, all over again. And everything's going to improve and include. We're on, look, just above my head here. Oh, we can do it. 21,639 subscribers. Road to 100,000. If there is anyone new who's just joined, please do hit that subscribe button. I'd take 8th as long as we play some good football as well. I reckon we'll catch some teams off guard early on in the season too. Everyone's paying attention to their own pre-season and not ours. Why Dallo and not Dorgu? Probably just because he wants some rest, I'd imagine. Dorgu's played quite a lot, so just rotation. Maybe bring him on for half an hour, make sure he's fit, fresh and ready for the start of the season. Okaju Joseph says Manchester United will win Everton 4-0. So Okaju's going early there, very optimistic. And Newcastle have found out what being a big club actually means. Yeah. And I love it as well. I love it. Because they seem to have some fucking weird thing against us, Newcastle fans, and I've never quite understood it. Oh, apparently now Mbeumo's warming up as a centre forward. Cunha and Fernandes, number 10s. I'm fascinated to see this. Really, really am. That's going to be so fluid, that front three. Genuinely. So fluid. What's that reading? Have we got any more quotes coming out from the manager? Usually I have a few more rather than 2 quotes. You know what I mean? Should we start getting the old predictions in? Or is it too early for predictions? What time are we on? Yeah, it's what? Because I went live a little bit later, didn't I? It's 22 now, so we can start getting them in if you want. Give me 4 things, and I'm going to read them all out. 4 things you see happening in this game. So that could be a yellow card, that could be an assist, a goal, a moment, whatever it is, fire away, and I'll start reading some out. And also, any other questions on the lineup, any tactical things that I may have not covered or not, get them in there as well. And we'll talk about it just whilst we've got this kind of next 5 minutes to kind of go through everything. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm not covered. Everton, to be fair, I've not really spoken about. I did mention the team before, didn't I? I'll get it up again just so I can go through that for 5 minutes. If I can find it. In fact, someone put it in the chat, didn't they? One of you legends put it in the chat, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Oh, no, Everton's bench. Everton's team. There we go. So, Pickford, O'Brien, Tarkowski, Keane, Mikolenko, Garner, Gay, Igrabunam, Alcaraz, Garner, Beto, and then Dye, which is interesting. So, I think O'Brien will be at right back. Tarkowski, Keane, Mikolenko. I think that's what the team that Alex said as well. Gay and Igrabunam would be the 2 kind of holding midfielders. Alcaraz usually plays as like a 10, unless he's kind of drifting out wide. And then Garner, are they going to have Garner as a 10? Beto up top and then Dye on the left, potentially? I don't know. I don't know where Garner usually plays for him. I thought he was more of a 6. Well, like an 8, like a midfielder, innit? So, unless he's just gone with like a flat 3 with Garner, Gay, Garner and Igrabunam. And then they've got Alcaraz, Beto and then Dye up top. It's probably more likely to what they've done in it. Quite a defensive team, that. But, having said that as well at the same time, Ndai, top player. Watched him quite a lot in the Premier League last season. I rate him. I think he'll end up getting a big move. Beto as well. Beto, don't forget, last time we played Everton, he scored. And Decore scored as well, didn't he? So, they'll be up for this Everton, I think. I won't by any stretch. I think people might get carried away a little bit and think we're going to absolutely smash him. I don't think we're going to smash him. I think it'll be quite a competitive game, to be fair. Fernandez goal, Bayern error. Oh, God. Ahmad assist, Ugarte yellow. That's from Tim99, who has been a member for a long, long time, by the way. So I appreciate you, Tim. Thank you very much for all the support. And everyone in general, anyone who tunes in. Sid is going with Cunha goal and Mbeumo assist. James saying, I can't wait to see those three rotate and drag defenders around. Their communication isn't 10-10. They'll struggle not knowing whether to trap back or pass them to United player. PSG have developed Vitinha though, haven't they? Yeah, they certainly have got a midfield gem in them. What we would do for Vitinha right now, fucking hell, would be absolutely incredible. That I'm gonna go with. I think Mbeumo's gonna get a goal in his debut. You know, I think he is. Mbeumo goal. I think De Ligt will score off a corner. Yellows in pre-season are very unlikely, but if anyone's going to get a yellow card, I would probably give it Garner Gay, potentially. And Manchester United to win this game 3-1, I think. 3-1, and I'll be happy with that. Listen, my voice is going. I am extremely rough, but I really, really wanted to do a live. I never want to miss the pre-match build-ups. But like I said, I was in a rush to kind of get back and sort everything. I will let you guys go and enjoy the game. There's no Sky Sports in it, with it being the summer series. So if you haven't got Sky Sports, you know what to do. If you have one of those stick things that you plug in the side of your TV, then yeah, go for that and go enjoy it as well. Whether there'll be a post-match or not, I mean, the game's going to finish at... What's it going to finish? About 12 o'clock. So we'll see. We'll see. If not, if we don't do a post-match tonight, then we'll do it first thing in the morning anyway. Like, it's not an issue. But we'll have to wait and see what's finished. But with SummerSlam being on as well, it's kind of like, I don't know. But just keep an eye on it. Turn on the notification bell so if we do go live, you don't miss it anyway. I know sometimes some people don't get the notification. But, again, that's down to YouTube, not down to me. I don't know why it would do that. But make your notes. Whether we go live tonight or tomorrow, either way. Enjoy the game. Player of the match. I can't say player of the match yet. The game hasn't done it. Or do you mean prediction for player of the match? Are you going on about? Prediction for player of the match. Cunha. Gonna be Mateus Cunha, I reckon. Yeah. Enjoy the game, everyone. You're all a bunch of absolute legends. Subscribe to the channel. Smash like the video. Thank you for joining me for the pre-match build-up. I genuinely appreciate every single one of you. Tune into the game. Make your notes. And I'll speak to you.